All right, guys, so we're back for another video. I apologize if the audio is a little bit tricky. There's like a large fan thing down near my shop. We have a brand new Rolls Royce Cullinan in for a ceramic coating. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip you around. I'm gonna show you guys the whole process of how I go about this, but I wanna start off by showing you the condition of the vehicle. All right, guys, so like I said, it's a brand new, it's a 2020, I believe it's a 2026 Rolls Royce Cullinan. Let me go ahead and look real quick. Let's see here. Up 2020, well, it was built in December of 2025, so that may still be a 2026. I don't know. But an absolutely beautiful car. As you can see, the contrast on the steering wheel, contrast piping on the seats, really, really nice. We just had one in the shop not too long ago that was spec'd a little bit different than this one. As you can see, this one does not have the curtains on the windows. The other one did. Just still has the starry headliner. Beautiful car. All right, so paint condition, again, it's pretty standard. It's just brand new, not in bad shape. But if you look close, hopefully you can see that we do have holograms kind of all over this thing. I don't know if it was the dealership or the factory, but they definitely hit it with the rotary. You can see those holograms there. So we definitely want to address all of that before we put the ceramic coating on. Look at that. Look at that hologram. Boom. And again, it is up and down the entire car. They're light. They're not the worst ones I've ever seen, that's for sure. But we definitely want to address this before we do the coating. Now, again, for our decon process, when we are getting ready to coat this thing, as you can see, the wheels are dirty, but they're not horrible. So I'm probably just going to use my pH neutral Quivr Rogue foaming soap, get in there, and then use my wheel brush to get in there and agitate it all and get it all cleaned up. And once again, I always recommend using the least invasive method first to see if you can get the job done. Try and do the least harm to the vehicle as possible. We don't have to go in crazy aggressive chemicals, crazy doing stuff if the car doesn't call for it. So in this case, overall, it's in really good shape, right? Again, it is new. So we're gonna go ahead and start off by getting the exterior cleaned up, prepped. We'll do a clay treatment, and iron remover, just because even in transport, these things are on ships coming over from England and then railways and things like that. So just want to make sure it's all good to go before we apply the ceramic coat, before we polish and then do the ceramic coating to get that proper adhesion. All right, guys, so hopefully the audio is better. I hooked up to a mic, so let me go ahead and show you the vehicle again. So now that we have some more visibility, you can see the car is actually dirty. It's not completely perfect here, but again, not in bad shape. We just got some heavier dust and debris on it. So for this situation, we're actually gonna be starting off with Quivr Impact Foam. This is my high alkaline soap. It's still not crazy. It's only like a 9.5 on the pH scale. It's completely safe on ceramic coated vehicles, all that kind of stuff. What I need as a professional mobile detailer, I need my products to be able to work in direct sunlight. Now, again, ideally, if you have the situation where you can work in the shade, do that. But as a mobile detailer, I'm not always in the perfect situation. So Quivr Impact Foam it is for the initial rinse. So what I like to do with this soap is just lightly dust it on. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna give the soap a chance to start breaking down the dirt and debris, encapsulating it, so that we can remove a lot of the bulk of it without having to agitate. So we'll go into a contact wash after this, but as of right now, we're just doing this to initially get this stuff off the surface. So again, just a nice light dusting, right? Now what we can do is let that sit for a little bit. Now I'm in direct sunlight. We do not want this to dry onto the panel. Just in any situation, you want to prevent product from drying on the panel. So we're gonna let that do its thing, right? Sit there, start penetrating the dirt, again, encapsulating it so that it rinses away safely. And then this side's good to go now. I'm gonna come back and do a heavier layer like so. And then what that's gonna do is allow it to pull the debris off the panel nice and safely with the lubrication. So I'm gonna do that, and then again, we'll go ahead and rinse this all down. All right, guys, now as we're waiting for that to kind of settle all down before we start rinsing it away, again, Quivr impact foam, the higher the pH, typically the better cleaning power that it's gonna have. So that's why I like to use this as my safe and effective pre-wash in certain circumstances like this. If I want to do something more specific, I'll go to my Quivr Pineapple, which is a citrus-based all-purpose cleaner, hit any areas like that, but this is great for just general use on the surface. All right, guys, so as you can see some of the pull down to it. Again, nothing crazy here, but we're gonna go ahead and start rinsing it off now. Again, it's always easiest to start from the top, work over that area. There was, I don't know if you guys saw that, but there was a big like bee pollen dropping there. It just completely stripped it off, no worries. But start from the top, let gravity help you, let the soap fall down, and then just makes things a little more efficient. So that was step number one. I'll go ahead and show you the vehicle now. So again, just all of the heavy lifting has been done. Obviously the car's still wet, but all that stuff on the window is gone. It cleaned up really, really nicely. Now, keep this in mind, I am using spot-free deionized water. That is why I'm not having any concern over the water spots sitting on here. Spot-free deionized water means I'm not gonna leave any water spots behind, so I don't have to rush this process. Let's go ahead and go on to step number two now, which is going to be switching over to Quivr Rogue. That's my pH neutral high foaming soap. Tons of lubrication, dual surfactant, it's amazing. I'm gonna start off though by treating the wheels and tires with it. Again, they're not in bad shape, so this is a perfect situation for this. And I'm also gonna be utilizing my Quivr, here, let's see if you can see the logo here, if it'll focus for you, or if it's too dark, I apologize, but this is my Quivr S turn wheel brush. It comes with two separate heads that you can change the cover for. The charcoal one here being a little bit more aggressive, the white and blue just being nice and plush. They simply just slide over this rubberized foam sleeve and they stay in place as they should. You don't have to worry about them pulling off. So they're actually kind of hard to get on and off, to be honest, but here's the rubberized sleeve. So there it is right there, nice padding, so it's safe for all the wheel surfaces. And then the best part about this thing is that it is bendable all the way through. So I call it the S turn because you can literally fold it and bend it all the way into place and have it look like an S, or is that an S? I can't tell on the screen of the camera, but very, very nice. So you can actually bend it, get the back of the spokes of the wheels, all that kind of good stuff. It's also long enough to be able to get into the full barrel of the wheel. So here is Quivr Rogue. I'm gonna go ahead and pour it in my foam cannon. Now I'm pretty familiar with my dilutions and where it needs to be in this thing. But 1 ounce is all I need of Quivr Rogue, at least for this setup with the Quivr foam cannon. Gets a ton of foam. I'm also gonna add an ounce or so into the wash bucket because that will be my contact wash media in that bucket. So I'm gonna go fill the rest of this up with water and we'll get started. So let's go ahead and get started on the wheels. As again, I have Quivr Rogue in my foam cannon there. I actually switched over my wheel brush to the plush white and blue just because these wheels are brand new. They're not in horrible shape and they are gloss black. So I want to be as gentle as I can on them. We're gonna go ahead and take the soap. We're gonna go ahead and foam it on. All right, make sure to get back into the barrel of the wheel. Good to go there. Now, because this is brand new, this one's ultra soft. So I actually I'm not even concerned with saturating this first. If it was the charcoal one, I would, but in this case, I'm not concerned at all. We're just gonna go ahead and take it in, go to the back of the barrel first, start working it around. Now, again, I'm having an issue getting behind this piece, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a little bend. There we go. Now it'll hold position for me, and I can get the back of the spokes as well. Look at that. All right, we got that one all agitated. I'm actually gonna switch over and rinse this out right away. Now, also after I do that with the initial one, I'm gonna go ahead and rinse out my brush. Just give it a quick blast with the pressure washer so I don't have to worry about contaminating the next wheel with what was on there. Guys, here's one more really cool feature of the S-turn brush. I can just bend it in half like this and then simply hang it on my bucket to dry out. I love that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and run through the rest of the wheels. We'll check back after that. All right, guys, so the wheels are all done now. I just wanna show you the paint in its current condition. Again, remember how dusty and everything it was. All we did was impact foam, let it dwell and then rinse it off, right? We haven't touched the paint other than that yet, so let me go ahead and show you. So you can still see the holograms in the paint, right? Actually, you can see them a lot more now because now there's no layer of dust on it. Everything looks really, really good. Now this, right, this is a heavier contamination. I didn't spray there very much either. That might have just come up, but other than that, like all the bulk of just the dirt and grime, vehicle looks fantastic. Other than, well, again, all these holograms that we're gonna have to deal with before we coat this thing. Now, because this paint looks like it's in good shape as far as the surface now, right? Most of the heavy debris is gone. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do an iron removing stage. Iron removers are great. They start to dissolve the embedded contaminants, rail dust, all that kind of stuff that's in the paint. Again, because it's already dry or getting dry, I actually think it's a little bit more effective because we're not diluting the product down. Same thing though, you don't want this to necessarily just completely dry onto the surface. So keep that in mind, but I'm using Detail Co's iron remover, Age of Iron. Why am I using this one? It doesn't smell that bad. Iron removers typically smell really, really bad. If it was really heavily contaminated and I knew that, I'd probably go with something like Co-Chemi Reactive Rust Remover. Super powerful, immediate reaction, but it smells, the active ingredient is really, really high. So this one's a good blend, really, really nice. For mobile jobs, this thing works great because I don't have to worry about leaving a stinky area for the customer. So we're gonna go ahead and apply this to both the paint and the wheels. So here we go, we're gonna start on the wheel surfaces first. If I can get this pumping. There we go. And again, I'm gonna do my best to not let this dry on the surface. So I just have to carefully monitor the vehicle as I'm doing this. Now, a lot of the vehicle is in the shade. So again, those areas I don't have to worry about as much, but we wanna do this step to get all the contamination out of the paint so we get proper adhesion of the ceramic coating. So there you go, guys. You can see the live reaction. It's dissolving. The brake disc obviously is basically what gets into the paint. Similar kind of thing. So you can see the reaction, color change of it dissolving all of that out. All right, so as you can see, this area in the shade, I'm fine just applying it directly to the paint. I'm not too concerned. We're in the shade. But again, I just don't want this to dry out on the surface if I can prevent it. So when I get into the back area of the vehicle where the sun is, I will probably still pre-treat that area. I just want to make sure that the panel is still nice and cool. Again, as I come to this back section, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that the panel is cool, back of the hand. It's a little warm, so I'm going to go ahead and saturate it a little bit more. This does two things. It cools the panel and does add a little bit of dilution to the product, so we won't have any issues as well. Again, ideally you want it as strong as possible, but this is kind of how you get around that. Again, as a mobile detailer, I'm not always working in my ideal situation, so I want to be able to share that with you guys on how to get this done. And now that we've let that dwell, again, not drying on the paint, we're going to go ahead and rinse it off. All right, now, because the paint is relatively mostly clean, I'm not really concerned with any additional stuff on the surface. I'm looking at it. If it was really dirty still, I would foam on, do my contact wash, rinse that off, and then go into a clay process. In this case though, the way it's sitting, this soap is highly lubricated. I'm gonna go ahead and foam it on and then do my contact wash, right? And follow up with clay immediately after. That'll speed up the process for me. Again, I'm not concerned. Every vehicle is a little bit different, so make sure you assess the situation. But again, that'll speed up the process. Let's do it. Now for my clay process, I actually like to use especially in this case, I'm using a natural clay, not a synthetic clay, just a regular clay bar, and I'm using a fine grade. In my personal opinion, it just seems to do the least amount of damage, least amount of marring in a situation like this. So that's why I choose that. Another thing, guys, I typically like to run the clay in the same direction across the entire car. Why do I like doing that? Is because if I am leaving any sort of micro marring or anything into the paint, I know that it was from me because I'll be able to see the direction that it was going and I'll know what to address, right? So again, right here, obviously I'm going a different direction, but that's just because it's a tight angle. Other than that, I try and keep it going all this way.
All right, guys, so we've got the car all cleaned up. Everything is good to go. It's decontaminated. Everything's ready to be polished now, and then we can apply our coating. Now, obviously, the wheels are still wet. We got drips coming through here. I did use my Quivr, not a beach towel. I actually probably should have used my Quivr Nazare massive drying towel. It makes it super fast and easy, but both those towels are phenomenal. But what I'm gonna do now is go ahead and take a leaf blower and dry these spots out so there won't get any drips. Why is that important? When we're doing our compounding, polishing, all that stuff, we don't want any water introducing into that because it'll make a mess, can dilute the product. So let's get that dried up. All right, guys, so now that the vehicle is essentially all dry, right? There's a couple of drips here and there still, but I'm gonna let this dry out and then go to the interior and clean that up real quick while the rest of that goes. I'm gonna take you in with my phone here. So this is a great time now that I can actually inspect the paint for any real damage. Now, it's always important to do that inspection with your customer prior to touching the car, right? You wanna try and know everything that you can. But sometimes you just can't see exactly what's there. This thing has a lot more holograms than I was able to see when there was a layer of dust on it. There's actually a little scuff on the back that I wasn't able to see because I thought it was just, you know, underneath the dirt. So let me go and walk you through that. All right, guys, so I got my little Next LED Ultimate. This is the incredible light. So there we go. We got a couple different light variations. We also have, see, a diffuser on it. I like that we have the option of using a diffuser or just popping that off, okay? So once we take that off, I can change the color temperature as well. And that's when I can really start seeing all these holograms in the paint, right? So we saw those ones outside before we ever did anything. But now I'm able to see that we've got some scratching here and a little bit of a stain in the paint there. Right up here, there's actually quite a bit. Look at that. Look at that damage. Look at that. Again, I think they just ran the rotary all the way up to that. That is not a reflection, guys. That is actually in the paint. Again, holograms all over the place. Let's see here. This back section is not too bad. There's definitely a hologram right in there. But let me go ahead and show you around the back here. This piece here, this is the one that I was not able to see, that scuff there. So I'll be able to clean that up. I'm not any concern, but that's just something that, like, I would probably let the customer know, hey, you know, after the wash, there was this little spot. Send them a text message just so they're aware of the situation. Let them know no issues. I'll be able to get that out, but just so that they're kept up on everything. Look at the amount of holograms in this, guys. As I pull my light across, you see how the light is refracting in all these different directions? It shouldn't be doing that. That was probably hit with a rotary polisher at the end of the process. We also have some water stains, water spots here. Let me see if I can get it on camera for you. There they are. Here, actually, it's easier to see. Let's see, some people don't like these hex lights. I like them because I can walk across the panel and you see how they pick up? Boom, boom, boom. I like it for that. So again, different color temperatures kind of show different things. So it's nice to have a light like this where you can go through all of that. So guys, now on top of that other little inspection light, I do have this large one. This is actually a tripod light from Next LED, but the head comes off. I love this thing because, I mean, look at, now we can really see all the holograms and stuff in this paint. And hopefully, there you go, there's a big one up there. So hopefully this is showing up nicely for you guys. On the piano black stuff here, look at that. Look at that. So we want to get all of that stuff addressed. Let's see here, this door is not horrible. This door's actually got quite a bit of stuff going on. Now, none of that's gonna need an extensive, deep polish, right? That's usually top layer stuff. I'm able to pull that out pretty quickly. But then again, I can kind of lift up above here. Look into the paint there. There's a scratch coming across this way that I'll make sure I address. And again, just sort of the holograms and things like that throughout this vehicle. So again, through here, hopefully you can see all those, all the ghosting there. And again, this one up here, which I'm blowing out now, but right there. There you go. All right, guys, it's actually the next day and we fast forwarded a little bit in time. So you saw me working on the paintwork, right? Actually compounding it out. Now, the compound that I was using is something that I've been testing out that I'm gonna put under my Quivr lineup. It's long work time, good amount of cut with an amazing finish. That was the idea that I wanted. I'm working on a compound and a polish. In this case though, I only used the compound, and I used it in conjunction with this Rupes, the teal intermediate pad. Did a fantastic job, took everything out that I needed it to. Again, the car was new. It was those light holograms and things like that on it. It wasn't in terrible shape, so this did the job perfect. Now, after that, I did go over the vehicle one more time with C6, it's called APP, Adhesion Promoter Polish. And basically what this is like, it's basically a finisher where you can go across and it cleans up the paint, opens up the pores, and you're able to apply a ceramic coating right over the top. Now they actually recommend this on a really small orbit machine. I still use it on my 15 and may not get the same result, but I also still do a panel wipe as well. I just like it as like a final kind of gloss enhancing option. For that, I did use my Liquid Elements 15 millimeter polisher with a black, this is a Buff and Shine Edge Guard pad. Black's their finishing one, nice and soft. On the initial cut, I was using the DIY Detail 25 millimeter polisher to get that job done. Now, perfectly honest, I wanted this thing to be as perfect as possible. Let me go ahead and take you into something real quick. Now, after my polish, I had a bit of built up compound and things like that in here. And I still have to clean the windows and the interior, but I had a bunch of stuff built up in there. Just dust that kind of flew around. Again, it's an ultra low dusting formula of the compound, but on all the black, it just kind of popped. So I actually pulled it back outside and did another wash on it, really just focusing in on those key components to get all of that out. Pulled it back in, dried it down, and then did my panel prep. So for the panel prep on this vehicle, I used Cochemi's Panel Prep Spray, PPS. Fantastic stuff there. And then I went ahead and applied the coating. The coating is my new coating that I've been working on for quite some time. I'll show you a little clip of it here. This is on a different vehicle, but so you can see the water behavior. It's absolutely crazy. Even the vehicle I'm gonna show you has paint and then vinyl on top, and you can't see any differentiation of the water behavior as it runs from the vinyl off to the paint. So just a really great coating. I've been really enjoying it. I've applied it on, I don't know, tons of cars now. I actually did another Rolls Royce Cullinan about 10 days ago with that one. Did a little Mazda with it. It's a phenomenal coating. So with that said, guys, that'll be coming out. I don't know, it's in production, so a little while still, but let me go ahead and show you guys the finalized finish of this vehicle. All right, so here we are. I actually just applied Abyss, which is my tire and trim dressing, to those tires. But as you can see, the paint looks so glossy, so wet. It's just absolutely beautiful. Same thing will come around this side. And as you can see, the clarity of the paint, nice, beautiful metallic flake in it. It's almost got like a goldish flake in it. It's really pretty in person. But as you can see, it's just absolutely perfect. Looks incredible. The reflection is insane. Again, just a little dust sitting on the surface now, but overall, I couldn't be happier with how this thing turned out. And again, I'm really excited to bring these things to your guys' attention once they're all back and ready. So as you see, the piano black, the holograms are all gone. It's looking fantastic. And yeah, came out great. So that is it for today's video. This is actually day 2 of working on this thing. I did all the prep and everything yesterday, compounded it, brought it back in this morning, did the APP polish, washed it, and then coated it and got it all squared away. I'm actually gonna leave this overnight. I'm gonna take it back to the customer's house tomorrow and pick up another vehicle, which is a Bentley. So tons of stuff coming through the shop. Having a great time with it, but thank you so much for watching. Everything will be linked down in the description for you guys if you're interested in any of the things that I talked about today. That is it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Please make sure to like the video, make sure you subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and we'll see you guys on the next one.